Chris Cox here. Got a great new guitar lesson for you today. We're going to do Paranoid from Black Sabbath. The song is in a standard tuning, but if you want to play it along with the album, you will have to do a little bit of fine tuning to get it exactly right. Also, I have a Patreon channel now, and I'm going to include the guitar tablature for Paranoid on the channel, as well as a lot of other bonus videos that only Patreon members can check out. So if you want to see the Patreon channel and sign up, it's going to be in the link's going to be in the description of this video, so go check that out. It's much appreciated. Let's get started with Black Sabbath Paranoid. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that. So Tony Iommi plays this riff in the 12th position here, or starting on the low E string. You will see a lot of other players play it up here to the 7th position on the A string. He did it down here so he could get a very heavy sound, and I think it does add something extra to it. I used to play it in that 7th position all the time when I was working up this lesson. I was like, wow, it really does sound better here in the 12th position. So you're going to take your first finger and you're going to bar it across the 12th fret of the low E and A. That's the first part. Now we're going to be just playing the E and A string only, but we're going to be hammering on with our ring finger on the 14th fret of the A. So you kind of got to let everything ring out. So I'll play it slowly. So a hammer-on is just where you're hammering on a note with, you're only plucking at one time, but you're really playing two notes. So there's the first note. There's the second note. So you're just using that ring finger as a hammer to press down hard on that string. Now the next part is going to be. Now that's tricky. I see a lot of people play it. They pick everything. But Tony actually doesn't pick when it comes back to this. He just hammers on to that note. So he does not pick that 14th fret of the A string. So let's play that riff again slow. So we can start here. So that's going to be 12, 14 on the A, 12, 14 on the D string. Repeat that again. And then go to the 12th fret of the D, and then hammer on this B note on the A string. So I'll play it slowly. Up to tempo. Okay, and then we start that first verse. So let's go to that. So the first verse is going to include an E5 power chord. It's going to be here on the 12th fret of the low E, and then the 14th fret of the A. So what we just played. So that's an E5. It's also going to have a D5, and that's going to be here on the 10th fret of the low E, 12th fret of the A, and then you're going to be playing, this is going to be a G5. And we're going to bar across our, E, A, and D string so we can do so you can grab that G5 and then get back to the D and then back to the E. So it's, instead of having to do it, you could do it that way if you wanted to, but I think it sounds a lot smoother just to. So after we play that riff, it actually, instead of hitting the chord, it goes. So we're just doing downstrums, muted downstrums on the low E string. So then we shift up here to the 10th fret. We're going to keep that bar chord shape of the low E and the you're going to do it. So we're actually playing the G5 to the D5 to the E5. So but we're going to bar across so we can go repeats again. Now we play a E5 to C5, E5. Back to those muted downstrums. So the E5 is here, 12th fret of the low E, 14th fret of the A. We go to the 10th fret of the low E and 12th fret of the A for the D5, and then for the C5 we're at the 8th fret of the low E and 10th fret of the A string. So if you keep that shape, guiding finger, so we're going to shift this shape of our hand to the 8th fret, then to the 10th fret, and then come back to the 12th fret. It's just the same thing, muted. And then here comes the second verse. That little treble part in between. So when we come out of this, it plays after every measure of that. So now all that is you're going to bar your first finger across the 12th fret of the G string and B string. You're just going to play those together when you come out of this. So that's just going to be G and B played together on the 12th fret, then you get right back into that downstrum pattern. So we'll play that slow. Then that's where, you know, we come into the hold. This is go back up to the D5, back to the E, and then back into the next verse. So, and then the last verse is exactly the same. The solo is going to start here with a bend on the 11th fret of the G. It's like a, and you're kind of doing a quick pull off from the 11th fret of the G string to the 7th fret. So it's, and then we're playing the 9th fret of the G. So far we have a little bend here on the 11th fret, a pull off to the 7th fret of the G, and then 9th fret of the G. So after we do that, we have, so that's going to be 9th fret of the G to the 7th fret of the G we go. So 9, 7, 9, 7, and then you're going to play the 9th fret of the D string and slide from 9 to 7. So we have, now from here we do, so that's going to be 5 to 7, so 5, 7, 5, 7, and then a hammer on from 5 to 7 on the A string. You're going to play this again, and that's just following that, you know, paranoid melody there. So it's going to be 7th fret of the A, 5th fret of the G, 2 times on the A. So we have this so far. next part. So that's going to be from 5 to 7 on the D string. Now you're going to play that 7th fret of the D twice. And on the second pluck, you're going to slide from 7 to 9 on the D. That's going to be 7 to 9 on the G. Now that last lick, we're doing a little half bend there. So it's going to be 7 to 9 on the G, to the 8th fret of the B, to the 10th fret of the B. So we have, and here comes the half bends. And then when we release that note, we're bending up like a half bend, and then we're pulling off from 10 to 8 on the B string. And then come back and play that 10th fret of the B again, and then you're doing a, and then come back here to the 8th fret of the B and to the 9th fret of the G. So it's just one pluck and then 2 plucks here. So let's play what we have. Go ahead and go with that slide lick where we're sliding from the 9th fret of the G to the 14th fret. So that's going to be the lick. That's the next part. So after we do this, slide into the 14th fret on the G with your middle finger. And now you're going to bar your first finger across the 12th fret of the B and high E. So you do a and then when we get to this note here on the 15th fret of the B, we're going to do a full bend there. That last note, that third pluck, you're doing a bend up and then pulling off from 15 to 12 on the B. Now we go to the 15th fret of the high E and do a, that's going to be full bends there on the 15th fret of the high E. So this lick is going to be, again, barring that first finger across the 12th fret of the high E and the B string. You're doing a, that's going to be a pull off from 15 to 12 on the high E, and then 15 to 12 on the B. Repeat that again. On the second time, you're going to go back and repeat that pull off again. So it's, after that, you go back to this 14th fret of the G and do a, and that's going to be a slight bend, and again bar your finger across the 12th of the B and high E. So we have, and then a quick pull off from 15 to 12. When you do that quick pull off, you're going to do that pull off. So that's going to be from 14 to 12 on the G, to the 14 of the D, back to the 12 on the G, and then you do a, so that's a full bend here on the 14th fret of the G, and it finishes on the 12th fret of the G. So let's go through that. That's a tough lick. Let's go through that slowly. The last part sounds like this. Got the entire solo. So we do so that's going to be a full bend again, a real quick bend, and then you stop the note on the 14th fret of the G, and then you go that's going to be pull off from 14 to 12 on the G, and then here on the 14th fret of the D, so we have So we have, let's add that much to it together. So after we do that, we're going to repeat this again, but then we're going to do the pull off from 14 to 12 on the D. That's going to be a pull off from 14 to 12, then 14 on the A, and then 12 on the D. So we have, and then you're going to shift up here to the 12th fret of the A, and then pull off from 12 to 10 on the A, and then grab the 12th on the low E, and then back to the 10 of the A. So and it finishes with that. So kind of playing the melody of the song. We go so that's going to be 12 of the D to 14 of the D. Pluck that 14 twice, and that's going to be 12, 14 to 12 on the D, and then come back to the 12 on the G, 12 on the D, 14 on the D. Let's play the whole thing slowly.